Shalom and good day all. We would like to apologize for any of the delays of this live stream.
Yeah.
So we've got quite a bit to cover in this particular live stream, and it's actually nice to finally get around to it. And my goodness, has this been quite an exciting week, especially around the issue of
Yep.
the Super Sons. Oh my golly goodness.
Yep. And controversial news as well, which I mentioned before during my review, and another news that came out recently, which I just uploaded my video just now. I was fine upload finally.
Yep, so definitely check out Tevye's channel because I know he covers quite a bit of it, and I try to cover whatever I can as well. What I normally cover, I think, in relation of it, mainly show up in sort of like the live streams that I do, more so than just the very short news responses and videos that I do. But it's really nice to finally start to get things up and going.
Yeah.
And I'd like to bring up, okay, I'll work on getting the first live stream up. Or not the live stream, the first share that I want to get up.
Yeah.
And here we go. It's got to do with Tom Taylor.
Oh, the CNN stuff.
Yes, the CNN stuff. The Communist News Network, as some people call it here, even over here in Australia.
Yeah.
But I've also heard it being called that over in parts of the US. Now, that's just going jokingly satire. So let's have a bit of a... Oh, did I remember to do this?
He is going to be, I promise.
Oh, Mother Trudy.
All right, can that volume be heard?
I think so.
For that video?
Yeah.
Because I'm not too sure.
That he is going to be, I promise he will punch a robot. That's just a guarantee. He will come up against Lex Luthor in our upcoming annual. All those things are part and parcel of Superman. And
hey, good to see you, Master Trudy.
That very important symbol can now represent. And I have to say, having seen the reaction today, having seen online what it's meant to people, I've seen so many messages from all over the world in so many different languages.
Yes, I really hope that can be heard.
I can hear it, but
okay, I might try to fix up that screen share.
Yeah, it's not your fault. It's more of
I was wanting the audio to go onto it. All right.
Maybe they would boost it, but who knows?
Okay. Oh, I forgot to hit the share audio part.
Okay.
Okay. Let's try that again.
Okay.
Oh, Master Trudy says he can hear it a bit. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's try it again. Hey, it's good to see you, Master Trudy. Would you like to join us in the conversation? I'll happily send a link to you, or even send a link in the text to you.
Yeah.
But if you're unable to make it, it's understandable. But it's nice to have someone who's connected to, who also does their own articles on Rainbow Press and Comics. It would be nice to hear what he has to say about this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get this done.
That he is going to be, I promise he will punch a robot. That's just a guarantee. He will come up against Lex Luthor in our upcoming annual. All those.
Oops. Yeah. Okay. He definitely would like to join us.
All right. All right. Send the link to him.
Paste. All right. Here's the link, Master Trudy. We're doing it through Restream. And wait until you get here. Okay, we'll get that back to the beginning again. It'd be nice to have someone who's also connected to not just YouTube, but also Rainbow Preston Comics to give their thoughts on this particular interview. And I think this is actually a good place to sort of like start off everything. I will be going over to the IGN interview, which they did type up. Also, how Bounding responded.
Yeah, Bounding.
And also moving into something that's somewhat hopeful, like towards the end of the stream.
Yep.
It's just a couple of things that I've found. Okay, we are starting off with this sort of like bad news.
Yeah. Oh, it is so fucking stupid.
Hey, it's Wookiee supremacy! Good to see you, Wookiee supremacy. I hope you're really well.
To piss you off, like you might troll up. You're not entirely wrong about that, and they got me when I did my video.
Well, it's going to be interesting. How you going there, Master Chudy? I hope you're able to set things up there for Restream. I haven't seen you turn up yet. So, all right, I heard it do something. There we go.
Yeah. What's
all
up?
Right.
Hey, good to see you, Master Chudy. It's been a while. It's been a long while.
Yes, it has. It has. You know, life has been good but busy. But you know, just and even then, I'm trying to slowly get back into the grind of getting back to the hobby of doing videos. But it's a struggle. But the reason why I haven't been doing much is it's a good thing. More opportunities. But still,
I understand.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed that you've been covering some animated series on your channel, and I believe you also covered the Injustice animated movie too, right?
I did, yes. I did. Yeah.
And
that's what I've been something that I know that I do a lot more often than even though I have access to read comics, I've been slowly getting myself back into it through the animation medium, so that's been interesting. And it's a medium that I really like and respect mostly. So yeah, it's pretty much like that.
all right, what have we got here from Wookiee Supremacy? Make them all gay and be done with it. I say let them get it out of their system so we can all look back at the woke stores and laugh. We've got Brandon Looney Tunes, fan 2000.
Congrats, man.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Here. And keep up the good work. So if you happen to enjoy Looney Tunes, definitely check out his channel.
Yeah.
All right. Now, moving back onto the topic of Super Sons Fortress of Attitude, not my John Samuel Kent hashtag. And hey, if this thing manages the trend, it ain't our fault. More of the hashtag. But you know what? This actually brings up a good discussion title of which they are addressing, not only in this, but also in some other articles. I do like what Dean Cain actually came out and said about it. of what I have heard, like through other channels sharing about it. My goodness. So let's get to this small interview before we move into the IGN one. So who's ready to hear this from the beginning?
Now let's do it.
So he is going to be, I promise he will punch a robot. That's just a guaranteed. He will come up against Lex Luthor in our upcoming annual. All those things are part and parcel of Superman, and this is just something extra that very important symbol can now represent. And I have to say, having seen the reaction.
All right, we all know the punch a robot symbolism, especially in certain groups, also represents punching an Nazi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why he easily brought that up. So he's trying to make himself look and appeal to that certain group. Now, being an Australian, I've met this person in person, and one thing I have also noticed with his storytelling, right, even though he tries to claim to speak for certain groups, in his stories, I have not seen one trans, let alone transsexual character. Right, if he's trying to appeal to a group, how come we see none of these characters in his Injustice run?
Here's the thing about that. He hasn't was gonna do that, but the problem is, actually, yeah, that's not entirely true. In Injustice 2, we saw Killer Croc, and we see as an Orca that the show is Harley Quinn and Blue Ivy Day in leadership.
Well, that's not the point I'm trying to bring across. I'm like, you got to understand, if there are people of this said community, sort of like the LGBTQ, right? One of the areas is the T group, like the T for the queer, like the trans for the queer.
Yeah.
And trans would be seen as like the transsexual, and the people who have operations like Mags Sagio to change their sexuality. The thing is, after said operations are done, cannot be undone, and the damage is practically the permanent. It can try to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Reversed, but the results are not going to be the same.
The result will be damaging.
Yes. So therefore, it's also going to affect them mentally as well as physically. And yes, it is true in some cases, and it is sad to see this happen, that there are those who actually commit suicide in that community, and that should not happen. Like, every life is worth something. Like, I don't care, straight, gay, bi, whatever. I don't care what religious creed you are, and that applies the same with like the Rainbow Press and Comics website, along with the Super Sons. All right, I don't bloody care. All right, it's not about that. The fact is that yes, this is a medium that many of us personally enjoy, and that yes also includes some members in that community. Should we continue the interview, or would some others like to give some feedback on what was just brought up?
And I find it interesting that he's mentioning all of these. He's received some, what I believe he's about to say, positive feedback, where from what I have seen, it's been overwhelmingly
negative,
or at best, nobody really cares. I mean, for me, John was a character, and I say was in the past tense because He was a character that had a lot of potential, and it seemed to me that when he was first introduced, and with the whole Super Sons, it seemed like they wanted to go back to the route of what they wanted to do with the Teen Titans. The
Yes.
first Teen Titans came out in the 1960s, basically. The first Teen Titans where you had Kid Flash, you had Tempest, you had Robin, of course, you had Kid Flash, you had Wonder Girl. Um, and this is the 60s before they got rebooted in the 80s, but they were all like 13.
Yes.
And you got to see, and even though they went on the like the most basic adventures, like, oh, we're gonna stop this giant robot, and their mentors were essentially parental figures.
If I remember, wasn't that sorry to interrupt. If I remember, wasn't that also a part of the Silver Age?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of DC Comics? I just want to try to make sure.
Yeah. No, you're correct. Because I remember,
was Silver Age, and 80 was the Bronze Age, 90 was the Dark Age.
Dark Age, Modern Age, and you got all this stuff, yeah. But yeah, where was I? Yeah. So when I was really getting into comics, I really wanted to, because I got into comics through the cartoons, but I never really read comics. And 4 years ago, when Zach started his channel, I started getting into comics. So I started going on a site, and I just started looking at all the stuff because I wanted to know. I really wanted to, know the stuff. And so that's when I got introduced to, the first Teen Titans, which was, which I didn't even know, because I thought that the Teen Titans was an 80s thing when it really became popular, or they became what they are now. And, it was, and like I was saying, they were doing mundane adventures, and it was kind of like, if you kids want to be cool, well, as cool as you could be in the 60s, back then, of course, as you know. And then, of course, they stopped it, but then they brought it back with the new Teen Titans in 1980, and then you could see like they grew up. You could see how they progressed from, and you could see them growing up in their particular comics. You could see that when the new Teen Titans began, that was when Dick Grayson was kind of transitioning from being Robin to Nightwing. Where you had Donna, where you had.
I remember that's when Marv Wolfman began to come in.
Yeah, Marv Wolfman. Yeah, when he took over, you had Donna Troy get married as well. You had all that stuff about, you introduced Cyborg at first, and you start seeing him grow. Beast Boy at the same time. You see the whole thing with Slade, Deathstroke come in. You get to see how Raven came to be, and they continually grew up. And then in the 90s, when you still have the Teen Titans, you see Nightwing completely leave the Teen Titans, do his own thing. And you see characters like Tim Drake begin to, and that's in of itself another issue as well. But you see somebody like
Young Justice.
Yeah. You see Tim Drake come in, you see Connor, where Superboy was introduced, and when he got introduced in the 90s with the death of Superman and, the reign of Superman and all that type of stuff, you got to see them grow up. And even in the 2000s, you got to see that same Connor Kent guy grow up and become, still Superboy, but he was different. And, he had
older.
Yeah. So when you get back to the Super Sons, here you are, you have John Kent, 10-year-old boy, and then you have Damian, who's like 12, 13.
Yep.
And the idea,
and to take it away, it sounded pleasant.
Yeah. And the idea behind that, I think we all know, was that, which is what made Rebirth so good, among other things, was that we were going to see this eventual passing of the mantle of the world's finest, where you would have, Superman and Batman, and you'd have John and Damian, but nobody was in a rush to like make them adults quickly. In fact, we all wanted the process to drag out and continue on. And in the Rebirth Superman, you got to see John grow up as a 10-year-old kid, managing his powers, confiding in Kathy, who for all doing all that type of stuff.
Yeah, that was something really incredible in that particular Tomasi run. And
the fortunate thing first was that we saw what John's character was having an effect on Damian, because, you know, before then, many people thought that, oh, Damien is finally getting fixed. Like, oh, he's getting balanced out by John and everything like that.
Fun. And Damien needed fun.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And then after John was aged, and you had these new Teen Titans with, you know, that's the one that upset me the most.
Yes.
Yeah.
A number of Super Sons readers still aren't happy with that in any way, shape, or form. And I think that goes to a number of us, even just in this live stream together.
Yeah. But I'm about to wrap this up from my own end. But you know, when with the new Teen Titans, when after Robin was aged, where you had Red Arrow, you had Kid Flash, you had Crush and Roundhouse and Jin. You saw people
Jin was so boring.
Yeah.
I'm glad they did get rid of Jin.
Yeah, they did get rid of Jin. But you saw people beginning to say, oh my gosh, Damien is reverting back to what he was, ultra-violent, antisocial, and people didn't like it. And then you said people were pointing to, well, and it was funny because before this new Teen Titans one where you had, you know, you still had Raven, Beast Boy, Starfire, and Kid Flash, and Robin, you know, there was a point in the Super Sons arc where you had the future Tim Drake try to kill John Kent, you know, to prevent some type of way. And and you know, Damien was like saying, I want John to be part of the Teen Titans, and you know, everybody else voted him down for, you know, legitimate reasons, saying that we have some issues as a team. But that was when Damien really wanted him to be part of the team, and you know, Damien said that you'll always have your back and everything like that. So when I look at John and what Tom Taylor did, and even as I see this interview, I really think that he just did it to be on CNN, to have his New York Times interview, to do all of this. We'll never know how John will grow, because I don't know what Jor-El did with John. We just know he came back, and he aged almost a decade. So, you know, and we don't see John go to school. We like seeing John go to school. We like seeing him do the mundane things.
Sorry to interrupt, but that drove me crazy. What the fuck? We never had John go to middle school or go to high school. I ain't that stuff. He never bullshit. I'm going to college. What? That's how it works. Like, let him go to fucking.
Yeah, I know. It's not good.
Not going to college. Make no sense.
Yeah. So that's just my own, and you know, that's all I have to say for now.
Well, let's just finish off the rest of this interview. Now,
Yes.
There's about a minute and something left. So let's just
action today. Having seen online what it's meant to people, I've seen so many messages from all over the world in so many different languages. People saying that they saw this news and burst into tears. People saying that they never thought that they would be able to see themselves in Superman. That they wish older queer people who've said they wish they had this growing up, and they're so happy that younger people or people who haven't come out yet have this today.
It's wonderful that you're getting that reaction. There's also some of the other type of reaction, particularly here in the U.S., political reaction, because everything's got to be political now, including Superman, apparently. This is from Wendy Rogers, who's a state legislator in Arizona, who wrote, "Superman loves Lois Lane," she writes, period. "Hollywood is trying to make Superman gay, and he's not." I cannot stress the level of ignorance in this tweet, first of all, because she spells Lois Lane Lewis to begin with, A. And B, she says that Superman loves Lois Lane. I mean, Lois Lane's his mom. How depraved is this Wendy Rogers from Arizona?
Right. Look, I think I don't know whether it's just being Australian, but I actually read that as Louis Lane, and I just hope whoever Louis is, I hope he's a wonderful man and they're very happy together. Look, we're going to get some backlash for this, but the key for me isn't the people that are upset. It's for the people that are welcomed in by this, that say today, you know, this is more powerful than a locomotive. That this is literally the powerful superhero in comics, and one of the best known all around the world is now bisexual. And I think that's a really big and really strong statement.
And that is the end of that one.
There's probably more to that interview that we don't know about, but we'll be able to talk about that. As far as my part on that interview concerned, I don't care. Like, I mean, I don't give it. They did more like blind points.
Agreed.
Yeah. Here's where I fundamentally disagree with Tom Taylor in this regard. I mean, as you know, I'm black basically, and
I don't care if you are.
Yeah, I know, but
it's
one
more
of
about
my
your character than your color.
Exactly,
because of a
exactly.
famous person who said that in history.
Yeah. But here's the thing: when I was a kid and I was growing up, and I can see where he's coming from, but I still disagree with it fundamentally. Is that when I was a kid growing up, the first comic character, that really got me into, because I watched the cartoon, so I was drawn in. But the first character that I thought was the coolest, that I really liked, was Gambit from the X-Men, and I just liked him because I liked his powers. I thought the exploding cards were cool. I thought the bow staff was neat and awesome. Yeah, and I just liked this character, and I got introduced to other characters like Wolverine, and then all those guys, but it was really Gambit that brought me in, and Spider-Man as well. But the thing is that they weren't necessarily black characters. I didn't necessarily want to see myself.
That character doesn't have to be like the leader, the emissary of the character. You're not wrong what you took you for. I agree. Like, not all characters need to be like that. Like Superman is not like that, but he cares about people. Like, so is Batman, so is Spider-Man. But Spidey, believe me, I know people who are going to characters that aren't same sex, religion, orientation, but would never change that.
The character that would never change that character like Taylor did.
Exactly.
And
I mean,
there was no need for John to be changed.
Like, this did not be okay. This is forced.
Yeah.
It really was. And to get it to my point, like, don't get me wrong, when I was still a kid, but I got older, I watched Justice League, and I got to see Jon Stewart, and I thought that was cool. I didn't even know there was a black Green Lantern, because the first Green Lantern I saw was Kyle Rayner. And I thought he was okay, but I was like, but when I saw Jon Stewart, I was like, oh yeah, and I was like, oh, it's cool, he's black, but that's cool. Then Static Shock, but these were characters that were presented to me that were not beaten over my head, but they were just there, and I liked them. But I still liked Gambit, and I ended up just liking all the characters, like all the characters. I didn't necessarily want to see myself in them because I knew they were fiction, but they just entertained me.
Yeah.
And I liked the stories that came out of it. I didn't necessarily want to feel seen, per se. It was always good to say, oh, that's cool, but I always figured that, I don't necessarily have to have Spider-Man look like me to learn the lessons of heroism or being humble or all of that type of stuff. That's something that my parents taught me, or things that I learned from other people who were not fictional characters. But I like the entertainment, and that's something that I got into. And so for Tom Taylor to assume that, well, all these people call, I don't think anybody really called on his phone and cried saying that, oh, I feel seen. I think people really overestimate that type of emotional resonance. I don't think anybody.
We all know you only made it for publicity stunt. And look, I love Taylor, but I mean, they're a bad idea. Like, they're rushing it. I don't know, it was a mistake. Like, for God's sake, we never let each other at a trial. I think that way I made a mistake.
I agree. That is one thing I think that we all agree on together that yes, this was rushed. As was also brought up on England team stream when we got to go on there. We also discussed of how this was not in any way set up organically.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hang on.
I'm DC Comics have really shot themselves not only in the foot but also in the head. Right?
Yeah,
yes.
If they had have prepared this from the beginning, like even from Rebirth, right, and not go by the freaking shippers of Twitter.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hang on.
All right. Because a lot of shipper stuff is headcanon, right? Of stuff that they would personally like to see. Hey, if they want to do that, why don't you go to your own little fan fiction website and do that story? Just keep it out of the main canon. You can see that headcanon in your head, share
doing
with other people, but it doesn't mean it's going to become DC Comics canon.
Yeah. Hang on.
You might like to see it as canon. Like one way it could work out as if it was made out as, say, I don't know, one of the multiverses, or in this current climate, they're moving into the omniverse, and some people still don't have a bloody grasp of that yet. Oh, look at this. I totally agree. Actions louder than words. That is 100% correct.
Yep.
Right?
Hang on. I'm trying to screen share the actual image. Hang on. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yes, you are too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I had a demo. We never got to see John Game and to be Lieutenant Boy. Like, we never got to see any of that. They were a great camera that people love. I am a Lieutenant Boy. To take that away from for this garbage is a stupid idea. Shouldn't have been wanting to create himself. Fuck you, Screen Rant. I'll actually, you know what? Fuck it. You know what?
I agree. And you know what? Even with the latest challenge of the Super Sons, to those who actually got to read through it, I know I ended up going through it and sharing on it in the channel. In fact, one of the latest videos also came up in relation to the challenge of the Super Sons. Issue 6. The next one should be issue 7. Yep, there's that picture.
Yeah.
Why?
No one even did not he's in a boring kid. Also, apparently, I did nobody on this news. Apparently, not going to be powered now. Why? He can't get hurt. Oh, goody! We make this character indestructible. Whoopee!
Oh my god!
The indestructible boyfriend. Yes. Actually, I'm going to lay out some theories in relation to Jay Nakamura, but I'll wait until we move on to the next article, because I think there are some things that we're actually missing in this story. And right, if you remember, I think it was issue 1, in relation to the first one, we had the return of a character by the name of Henry Bendix.
Yes.
All right. Another thing that you also see with a lot of the latest stuff in relation to these new characters or said villains, all right, have also been connected to Henry Bendix.
Who actually watched them villain.
Yeah. All right. I have to refresh that page again.
Oh yeah, that's No Way Home.
Yeah. I'll just wait for it to be ready, and then I'll switch it when it's ready to go on. Autoplay off, please. Oh, would you bloody mind? Okay, fine, stuff it. All right, here we go. And this is moving into this article by Jess Schneiden. And this is just some of the stuff around this particular article. I don't want to cover the video, but I do want to cover what was said in the article.
The video itself doesn't give audio at all. The video itself is more just the text.
Yeah. I can't really do much to increase the size, but you've got him talking. The comic book industry has worked to increase the LGBTQ representation in recent years, and DC Comics is taking a major step forward in 2021. What? So they didn't do it in New 52?
They didn't do it in DCU with Benetta and Apollo. I feel like people do forget that stuff. We got Midnight for God's sake. We got Midnight Apollo years later. Like,
this is also this is also a problem with the present day politics.
Yeah.
Even of this particular article, because they're doing exactly what The Last Jedi did.
Yeah.
And we all know that favorite little quote that they mentioned in The Last Jedi, don't we?
Let the past die, kill it, you have to.
And they're basically wanting to undo everything that's happened in the past to make it look all fresh in 2021. Well,
it doesn't work.
If anything, they're going back the fucking rotten eggs. I'm sorry, I got to be blunt about it, but they're going back the rotten eggs, and they're saying, "Oh, don't you like the smell of my rotten eggs?" Yeah, these are the same rotten eggs from about 20 or 30 years ago. No, they're not. No, they're not.
This ain't anything
Yes,
new.
they are. Of course, for those not up to date with the current DC line, John officially inherited the mantle of Superman, his father. Well, that doesn't officially happen.
That's not entirely true, because in Action Comics...
and also the Action Comics one. Following the event of the Future State crossover...
no! Future State is not canon!
That is actually incorrect. The Future State was not a crossover.
What a crossover? It's a stopgap.
Yeah. The Future State was not marketed as a crossover. So there's a big error in regards to this writer's article.
Fuck Future State. Let it die. I want to go away.
Yeah.
And while Action Comics explores Clark Kent's adventures
in War
off-world, to which he'll be heading to War World, the recently launched Superman, Son of Kal-El focuses on the 17-year-old John as he grapples with his biggest responsibility of his young life. But at least he has someone new to share that life with. What? So Damien wasn't available?
Or Kathy?
Or Kathy?
Or nobody? Or Borzalo?
Yeah. Yeah, even Boys.
Yeah. All of these guys that were set up years ago are no longer
totally ignored. Yep, let's just totally ignore those important characters.
From Hamilton County? I feel like people get behind this stuff. What the fuck?
Warning, the rest of the story contains some
plus for it. Oh, give a damn. Man, saying probably won't be surprised when John agrees with Johnny Nakamoto, hacktivist, wire John Mutter.
Yeah. Warning, the rest of the story.
I don't know what hacktivist is.
All right. It's basically their version of an internet activist. That's all it practically is. It's basically Antifa term is okay. This is our guy to which we have sort of like to help set up with our rallies, etc., etc. So let the certain activist crowd that this stuff's happening. Trust me, I've been in the presence of Antifa and members of it. Yes, you do have some nice people in there. Some. I'm not going to say all specifically, but some, and yes, others can be a-holes.
Yeah.
Others, not all, but others. Moving back, fans of the series won't be surprised when they learn that John is entering a relationship with Jane Nakamura, a hacktivist who idolizes John's mother. And I recently read through the latest issue, or not the latest issue, but I think it's issue 3.
Yeah, issue 3. That's the way issue.
Jay Nakamura feels more like a friggin' villain than he does a so-called hacktivist hero. All right?
Yeah.
Because the way he comes across in the story, it sounds like he has been stalking John's mother. And in a way has like a type of shrine to her. And trust me, John, do you really want to hang around someone like that?
You really want to be boyfriend and to be creeper? Fuck that. That's creepy. Fuck that.
All right,
the guys are using you. God using you for your own way to twist your vision.
Yeah. John's mother Lois had already lent his new friend a helping hand, and this image shows the two friends will become something more than they did at first kiss in issue 5.
Fuck that. Over the years, the recording was a part of this year. I read Queer Care and Story Rejected. I felt like right now people I love every time and having with Tom Taylor's third IGN. But we are different what? Much more welcome. Wait, go up. Hang on.
I don't buy it that it was rejected. Yeah. I feel it's full of BS. Why? The current climate in comics say, hey, how about Justice League Queer?
Well, no, not one.
That hasn't come out at all, has it?
Let's not forget the recent DC Pride.
And Marvel Pride. Marvel did too.
And the Marvel Pride that also came out this year.
Well, they all fell short.
So they're rejecting the fact that these came out, but now they're having Queer John?
I don't get it. It is stupid.
Can you go up? I call BS on this. All right, and this is why I feel that this is a big fat facade from Tom Taylor. And I'm sure you understand what I mean by a facade.
Yeah. Hey, hang on. Tam, can you go up a sec?
Whereabouts?
Stop.
About here, over the years in the industry.
Right there. Yeah.
Okay.
All the industry point was by the quick and so rejected. I feel like I'm doing now people I got every time I haven't. But we are very different, much more welcome for today than we were 10 in 5 years ago. Okay, didn't tell you long about that, but fine. Let's see. When I was asked if I wanted a new Superman with #1 for DC Universe, I knew replacing Clark Kent with another straight white savior could be a real opportunity miss. What? Oh, this is so fucking stupid. I always say everyone needs heroes and everyone deserves themselves the heroes. Today, Superman is on the planet coming out. What? Look, I respect you as a writer, but this sounded a very, very bad idea.
Yes.
We never got to see young X-Men childhood. If you want to go down this route, fine. But let's go. Okay, no, watch it.
Well, now DC has another problem because let's remember, with the video we just saw before, what color was Tom Taylor?
Yes.
White.
Hey, we got a straight white savior riding a bisexual Superman.
Yeah.
Well done. Love the hypocrisy.
fucking reasons.
So why don't we have like a black gay person, trans, whatever, writing this Superman instead of Tom Taylor? Like going by their own rules, like literally going by their said political rules that they like to hold to.
Yeah.
Why don't we have, say, someone who's black, so that would make him now a black savior, who is also of said community of the LGBTQ.
They can turn Tim Fox gay, and you know what? Actually, you know what? You know what? I'll be all for it. Tim Fox. Okay, I mean, that actually make a lot more sense. That I didn't expect.
Yeah.
Because that'd be organic.
Hey, I don't have no problem with Tim Chase Fox being gay.
Same.
Just don't call him Batman. In fact, I think the perfect name that would work for Tim Jason Fox would be the Iron Knight.
That's not bad.
That's cool.
Right? Even though Ridley's storytelling isn't that good, like with his particular series on Tim Chase Fox, I feel the best superhero name that would work for him would be the Iron Knight. And yes, you can still have him working in Gotham, working alongside with the real Batman. I wouldn't give a flying F if he wanted to make the character gay or bisexual or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, it would be nice to see a new character with a new title, not being Batman, being a part of that community, doing superheroic work. All right? Maybe then I would pick up the title.
Well,
but I'm not picking up the I Am Batman title.
A long time ago, that was supposed to have been Batwoman. And
yeah.
Oh, yeah, it would be Batwoman, but then DC, well, they are bullshit. Yeah, they can't be married because can't be married be happy.
Yeah.
What? Are you fucking hard? That's so fucking stupid.
Here's what I find very interesting in DC's writing in general. When it comes to basically LGBT representation, as they've so put it, like in Teen Titans, the new one where you had Crush, Jin, and Roundhouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reading the series, I was, it was actually very good. This new team, the characters were written very well, in my opinion. Maybe Jin could be hit or miss, but for the majority of it, I was very impressed with the writing. I thought it was good.
Roundhouse, I didn't give it. It was so boring. And then a trailer.
Yeah.
Fuck right now. I wanted to go away.
But what I found interesting was the relationship between Crush and Roundhouse, because that was written specifically well, where I thought that, well, yeah, the way that she's dressed, you're obviously going to assume, well, she must be lesbian. But the way that she was interacting with Roundhouse so well.
Yes.
So good.
I
would have thought that they were. Yes, I would have exactly, and I thought that, and it was earned. It was well. It was good writing. And the thing is
Crush and Jim were actually in a relationship. They were a couple.
But that came out of absolutely nowhere, because throughout the whole series, up until that point, Crush seemed very neutral on all of them. Yeah. Like, she didn't really like any of them. Yep. And so I just thought that was interesting. And so even with Harley Quinn, I've noticed that she's written better when she's paired with a man as opposed to Poison Ivy, and that's just my opinion. Even in the comics, and I watched some of the show, and I didn't even, and people, the show
was great. I love that show. It's funny.
Yeah, but I don't like how they essentially portrayed Harley Quinn as I know she's bad, but it was more like you're a scumbag. and you've automatically made Poison Ivy a scumbag, and now you're both
That's
scumbags.
the point. They're villains. They're not heroes.
Yeah, I know they're not heroes, but this is the thing. If Harley Quinn is not a hero, and this is a general issue that I kind of have when it comes to Harley Quinn, stop trying to make her a hero. It made sense when you forced her into the Suicide Squad. Okay, well, she's being coerced, but now she's in the Justice League, still doing Harley Quinn. Well, she's with the Bat Family of all things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if you also think about that too, they've sort of established that not just in the comics but also in the game. Now, I would also like to bring up as well that it seems like Tom Taylor as well hasn't completely left his Injustice universe.
No,
that's true.
Now, also looking at the spotlight that he would have gotten in relation to Injustice that came out recently, right? That would be the key platform, all right, to get him from there to CNN, right? Look at how things have been done in relation to one of our unfavorite writers, just in DC Comics, Brian Michael Bendis. All right.
Yes.
Yes. I'm afraid I'm going to have to bring it up because even Brian Michael Bendis was happy that this happened too. In fact, I even found what was it?
A tweet
that he did on the issue. Now, did I end up sharing it in the Discord?
I think you did, yeah. I actually think you sent me the mail on Twitter. Hang on. I do it with the John Tim stuff. With the artists. On pretty big deal with John Consumer at John Tim. We have seen John Ken grow up in front of our eyes. No, we didn't. We didn't get to see any of that stuff. Because remember, he never crap. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't agree, John.
No, but I do. No, I didn't end up sharing it. I thought I did, but I do remember seeing it, and even he, also praised Tom Taylor on this issue as well, and it's something that does need to be taken on, because we already know that something's already coming up, but we also know that he's also been planning this too. And you recently covered a video on it on your channel today, having to do, and Thinking Critical was another one, having to do with the Justice League
and the Legion of
Superheroes.
Yeah.
All right, and yeah, I'll go pick it up because this is going to be great stuff for like the Rainbow Crescent comic side of things in regards to Fool's Gold. And you know what? Some of my stuff that actually gets some more views is actually the Fool's Gold stuff that I post on the channel. Surprisingly enough. Like, I don't want that to be the key center of like all the things that get all the views on the channel. Yes, this is just reporting that, okay, these are the channels that, these are the comics that I am basing on their worth, right? I paid this much of how much they said they're worth, but this is how much I believe they are actually worth.
Yeah.
So, even though, yes, I did pay said price for it, this is how much I believe the price should be. Right? And that, if you think about it, lets DC know, and other comic companies know, if you think about it, if they're putting out a good story, or what they believe to be a good story, and trust me, even Joshua Williamson's future state Gotham is going through the grind of the Fool's Gold. Why? Because
I
it's still a part of the future state.
I knew that.
Right? It's still a part of it's still a part of future state. To which we were meant to believe that future state was officially over.
But it's
at
not.
This point.
It's going,
but because
and
it's
going,
not,
and going until it dies.
Yeah, and because it's not, right? Because when I did the Fool's Gold review in regards to everything future state, oh, trust me, there were even delivery delays in that time period too. And it was annoying. And then after that, I had to get really busy in order to get those videos up throughout the week, plus provide one whole video that had like all of the comic reviews in one. So you had the separate, but you also had one that you could like watch all the way through. Like I provided that option. And it was up to the people which option that they chose to do, even though I did sort of do like the somewhat individual reviews first, and a number of them were done together. Some weren't, but it took a lot of energy out of me to do, even including going back to the Brian Michael Bendis Legion of Superheroes one future state that he was doing with Redondo.
That book was garbage. That book broke me.
That art was enough to make you vomit. It was
it was so bad.
Wow. But not only that,
I don't know where it's going with that. That story was so
same with the story. Same with the story. It was enough to make you vomit.
Oh my gosh.
Right, let's continue on with this article. Given Jay's journalistic leanings, there are certainly comparisons to be drawn between him and Lois Lane and Clark Kent dynamic. However, Jay has his own fight. Taylor says he's obviously an effective journalist. Obviously. Yes.
Bullshit.
Agreed. Yes. And Lois Lane is his heroes. Right, remember? Right. Another thing that we also learn is that Jay is also a refugee from Gamora. Now, as we already know, coming back to the Gamora and Henry Bendix, I'm going to call this out.
Wait, go. Wait, go. Can you go for a sec? Something I did that from the article. Let's see. So, well, unfortunately, I changed over the years historically. Laws had often preferred that. Bullshit! Terms on law. That's a lot of crap. Reality show. What the hell? She's a badass. I'm sorry. I can't be that person. That is crap. Did we forget when put on someone with the helmet armor and the kid right against his ass? I feel like people like what the.
All right. I hope we can see some of the images there. In regards to the upcoming covers for it. Yes, I will be getting this to review.
I hate that variant cover. So stupid.
All right, and they show like some of the early issues.
Yeah. Issue 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And issue 4, where Johnny said, "Fuck it! Like, how many man destroy my home? I'm gonna kick his ass." You know what? Issue 4, I'm on the issue. You see John get freak out and kick Honey Badger's ass. That's the one I want to see.
Yeah.
Cheers, not so much.
Now, if you remember some of the things that happened in the beginning of the first issue, also the second and also the third issue. Now, one thing that you also notice in the pattern here is that Henry Bendix is using weaponized humans.
Metahumans. Well, not metahumans. Another turn on from the Wildstorm universe. I forgot the name. His other plan is another video coming up soon. Senator Carell. Jay himself has superhuman powers, making him both an invaluable ally to the human and comparing to a young man who had never much of a chance to build life from himself in the other world. What? Bullshit! We never got to see John get the chance. Due to John shifting age and spending time in the future. After he was forced to go there, then the bullshit written by Bendis. Not Bendis, Bendis. God,
Yes.
why is this his last name?
Yeah, it's bad that the villain's surname is Bendix, even though it does remind me a lot like Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah.
My guess is that Jay Nakamura is also Henry Bendix's son. Just
that would make no sense.
Nakamura is also, if I were to guess, also an experiment.
Yeah.
From Henry Bendix.
Interesting.
Right, and just how things are sort of going with the story, and the only way to get sort of like into the Superman family, this guy's a friggin' mole.
That would make sense, and honestly, I do all for that because that would be something. We get something interesting to work with, not be boring.
All right. Now, even though many of us sort of don't like some of the stuff that happened in the future state, including John becoming a tyrant.
Yeah, by putting him in Metropolis, we get
of many of those on Twitter, they said, "Oh, great! Now that John's bisexual, he's not going to become a tyrant." You can't prove that won't happen. You cannot prove that won't happen.
Yeah. Due to John's friends and if you don't really have any friends in the present day who are their own age. Reality check. Last time when he had people on age, I think in the past when he was a 10-year-old boy. Take that away, never get a copy again. Or mind the card, or Borzal, or Lavino, and kidding. Did we forget some of my stuff? I feel like we forgot all that stuff.
Yes.
What the hell?
You can definitely see that Taylor has intentionally ignored the Tomasi stuff. But the only time that I felt that he somewhat respected it, and I mean the only time I feel that he somewhat respected it, was only in a one-shot issue, Tomasi Detective Comics run. I think it would have been last year sometime, maybe the year before that. He did a one-off issue, and it had to do with the Martha Wayne orphanage. It was a really good issue. I liked how it was done, and it felt like, number one, it sort of respected the continuity. We had Damien actually doing something that was very heroic of him.
Yeah.
And it felt like it respected the Super Sons. And I believe it was connected to, say, the Martha Wayne orphanage. Something was happening there. Batman had to work on something else, so he brought Damian Wayne in. So sort of like to help investigate it for him. And I thought that was really good. I really liked that. I really enjoyed that. But now Tom Taylor is actually showing that when it comes to this DC Comics main universe, he's now only good for like one-issue one-shots.
Which is sad. I wanted to shoot man. I wanted to shoot man family for years, but after this, my hope for it was gone to zero.
Like one issue one shot.
Don't cash. The actual crap.
Yeah, one issue one shot.
We went into our series.
Yeah.
No Cappy. No Maya. What the hell? But it was important to me that we gave John confidence in someone who can support him. Well, Cappy can support him. What the hell?
Yep.
Wait, go up. Can you go up a sec?
Okay. Back to where
Yeah.
Just towards the end of it.
What was most important with making Jay Nakamura formidable in his own right. Okay. Find the boundaries so they could be equal rather than having Jay be Ichiwan and John. So fucking good. We want
This
Jay
is
to
my
overpower issue 4 and we learn he can't be harmed. Oh, goody! Wonderful. We be an indestructible boyfriend. Groupie, fucking dude. How boring. That means of everyone in John's right there, the only person they need to protect. It means they legit equal one bill on mutual support. Reality check? That sounds boring. That sounds very stupid. That is stupid. I don't care about this character. And I'm hoping I hope your fury does come true. Is at the mole starts bidding in the child Henry Bendix. Maybe that would make more sense. Holly developed a different character than any character commentator will admit. John J. are very different people. Well, I would say Holly with the first guy, I would do it at openly bisexual. Though only injustice with it, we really tell a story and show we see that maybe we won't be depicted elsewhere at the time. I was on there the chance to let the marriage that Holly put out last year, just as year zero. Really? I don't remember wedding having that story. I read year zero. I don't remember wedding happening. If it did, then that's cool. I'm all for that. But why John Jay? What the point is? When you say Hollywood critical lie, Tim says so the main lesson to be natural is impossible. Going with actions from within the character during my emotions, when them be what?
All right. Did I go a little bit fast there? Oh, drop it there.
Hang on.
Letting them be, I hope to achieve the same with John and Jay, although it always is complicated to keep the stoic exterior. This ain't fucking stoic. Being blunt, it's far from it.
Yeah.
Plus,
stoicism not would be wage.
Stoicism works more towards a form of philosophy.
Yeah.
And this is what some people forget about stoicism.
Yeah. She would talk about strong favorites, though not would be rage or pain. It was a welcome challenge.
The latest
twist is all part of John Legend in DC 2021 and beyond. Can he truly live up to his father's legacy? Can he find a balance between cotton civilian life, the vulnerabilities of far, and perhaps more importantly, can he figure out what kind of humanity the world needs now? Reality check. I need a burst of bubble in there about that stuff. We have a streamer out there that's good on it. That's Clark Kent.
Yeah, and on the topic of Clark Kent, this is something that gets said about it. I think Clark said it best when he left Earth in John's hands. Now, this sounds like he's speaking more so in relation to his issue of Superman and not
Action Comics.
Philip Kennedy Johnson, which actually Philip Kennedy Johnson has done a pretty reasonable job, even though he actually does feel like he's more on the side of the Super Sons readers, even though he still had to go ahead with it being this way.
Yeah, he showed whining like that, but
at least he showed best. Yeah, at least he showed empathy and sympathized with us, the Super Sons readers.
Yeah,
where with Tom Taylor, he's doing the complete opposite. And right, just to support said agenda. I think Clark said it best when he left Earth in John's hands, that Clark was the Superman of tomorrow. John is the Superman for the days after. Taylor says the question for John and our creative team is, what should the new Superman fight for today? Can a 17-year-old Superman battle robots, coming back to his punched robots? Robots? While ignoring the climate crisis? Of course not.
Well, he can actually.
Injected beyond his borders.
And someone with
asylum seekers.
Yep.
This is the problem.
Wait. I've all the things, climate crisis, fine. I can accept that. That makes sense. But Injustice Beyond Borders, fine. Asylum Seekers, fine. But I'm with Dean Cain in this one. Like, look, love Dean Cain politics in this one. I do respect the guy who's trying to remember. This ain't Border Brave. This is just stupid. And Dean Cain, if you want to go Border Brave, have him stand up for gay rights. Have him stand up against the Taliban. I'll be all for that. Those things are a lot more interesting.
Well,
this is an issue
because the next article that I was wanting to bring up was actually Bounding's article in relation to what Dean Cain said. And
but I think before we head there, I think the one last thing I'll say on this is that, you know, there's this odd, I don't know, fixation of turning heroes into your idealized politicians that you want a politician. And this is not what you do. Like, if you like, don't do this. Like, I would rather them just fight, you know, bad guys doing all of this type of stuff and everything. You don't need them to start, you know, becoming mouthpieces for politics, for political purposes, or, you know, whether it's supporting war or whether it's not supporting war, or whether it's to drill for oil, or whether it's to save the environment. No, you know, some people just want to have something that, you know, there's always the politics will, politics will be there. They will always be there.
Yeah.
You don't need to put them everywhere.
God said this best. Like, if Superman Dewey said it's better, you know, like even Superman said, I know there are bad people in charge, but I can't go beyond the law. Like that's what Superman said, and Superman Dewey.
Yep. And does anyone remember the Superman Red and Blue anthology that came out? Those issues that came out? There were some good stories in that. But there were also
the John Kent story, when you saw John Kent there, a little kid, that made me so happy, also sad.
That was good, actually. It would have been nice to see Peter J. Tomasi do a story in that.
Same.
But another good thing too is that Jorge Jimenez, he did a story in the Batman one, and that was fantastic. Like, you can see in Jorge Jimenez, even though he also did both the art and the story on it, he did a fantastic job with the story. Because the story had Damian Wayne in it, going on a bike ride with his dad. And as this talk's happening, they're trying to set up for, like, what's going to happen that night. And as it goes along, it was a great story. It really was. I loved how it was written. And here is the part where I jump in and say, I'm Batman! Like, as he's talking to Robin. And then as things start to go in, like, they start to go in for the thingo, it's night, and in comes, I'm Robin! Just like Batman. And the way that story was done, you can see how much Damian loves his old man. Like, you can see how much Damian loves Bruce Wayne, that he wants to be able to give off that same fear to the villain.
Heck, the one with John Kent, Damian Wayne, with the Super John story with John spoke about Kryptonite. That made me so happy because it was adorable. Like, it's a giant baby. I would love to see that story. I want more of that. to get John that TI baby. I want to read that more. That's very adorable. I want more of that.
All right.
Give me that.
Let's drop the IGN exclusive. I'm not too sure how big this article is, but we'll probably skip some little parts here and there in relation to it. In regards to the bounding. All right, here we go. Dean Cain. Former Superman actor Dean Cain played Clark Kent in Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, reacted to this particular announcement. Superman is attracted to the dudes. Of course, I think this is done by John Trent. Yeah, John Trent. And good job with it. And we can see quite a bit here that he addresses. But we'll start off with the start. DC Comics announced on October 11 that their new Superman, Clark Kent's son, John Kent, will be attracted to men in the upcoming Superman issue in November. In the blog post, DC Comics claimed that, he'll just be like his father, Fawn reported, mates are still. Yeah, I'm skipping quite a bit. But they added that the following scene where Superman mentally and physically burns out from trying to save everyone, and Jay is there to care for the Man of Steel. Yeah. The book Tom Taylor's writer, and he goes on about what we recently covered. He added, Superman is the strongest superhero and on the planet is coming out. Well, it doesn't make him strong. That's got nothing to do with making him strong, with him coming out as said community. It's got nothing to do with other people who have done it in the DC universe, minus John Samuel Kent.
Yeah.
And this is why he's not my John Samuel Kent.
Can you screen share the article?
What?
Like, sorry to interrupt, but can you screen share the article?
Share it. Thank you. My error.
No problem. No problem.
It's been a busy day.
Yeah.
So we got the one. Then we'll go through some of the parts here, and he played a great role as Superman in his day.
Yeah, he did.
And we've got him making. There's some of the references in regards to what was spoken about the IGN article before. Of course, we see this cover again, along with the other. And no, it does not make him super strong letter for coming out as said person, because this has happened before with other characters. And I do like that. Here we go. Your ideas for a new age Superman comic are fantastic. Fighting for the truth and justice. I say, and that's just a comment in relation to. Dean Cain. Okay. So they sort of agree with it. Cain started. Look, it's hard for me to keep track of all the different Superman. List continues. They said it's bold and a new direction. I say they abandoned wagoning. Robin of Batman and Robin, as you mentioned, came out as bi or gay recently.
That's Tim Drake. I thought that stupid. I agree. That part pissed me off because what the fuck?
Yeah.
Tim Drake should not be bothered with the other stupid gin that felt all panel. What the fuck? You broke up with his shit. Fuck that. Yeah.
Agreed. And as it continues on, he brings up the point, which is a really fair point.
Yeah.
If this was done in, say, 20 to 30 years ago, yes, it would have been brave. It would have been bold. And if you remember, in that time period, mainly in the 90s, there was the issue of gay bashing.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
And
really fucked up.
I think Englandine also brought up a really good point in relation to this. Is this event going to, he addresses this as a question, is this actually going to, in turn, bring more gay bashing, cause John or should we say Tom Taylor has done this.
Yeah, these are the kind of negative impact, negative positive.
What DC Comics is doing is no different than what's happening right now politically, including in Australia politically, is we've got the segregation of communities. It doesn't matter what your political agenda or sexuality is. This segregation is coming back all because of said present event. Now, I won't name it, even though a number of us would know what I'm thinking of, including those who actually have watched the stream, having to do with a certain phantom virus, and that's as far as I'll go. And this could very well bring back said segregation once again.
Which is bad.
Which is a bad thing, and we don't want that to happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Kanan question story, he's gonna turn Superman, and they're talking about fighting world problem with climate change, deporting refugee and everything, hacktivist, whatever hacktivist is. I'm with him about it. I don't know why don't they have him fighting just the equate refugee who deported that he's protesting that will be brave. I agree that. I agree that well. That sounds interesting. That's a way better story. We'll find one to go in the country boy and go to work away and boy not to be laid by men under the one by the Taliban. Yeah, that part I do agree. That part I would read in a heartbeat because that sounds way more better than this.
Yep. And then look at this.
I hate politics. I hate politics. That's not every those stories are great and bold. Those stories are better than going on right now.
Agree. Yeah. And it does actually address some political issues in regards to, say, something in relation to the Middle East.
Yeah.
And yes, there are some places in the Middle East that they don't like certain said group, to which certain said group.
What the fuck?
Yes, and that is terrible. Like, that should not be happening, especially in the Middle East.
Yeah.
As brought up in the nation, that's actually brought up in the article, being Iran. And yet, another thing too that some people also forget about is that even in Iran, one thing with Iran is that Iran is also popular for a number of people to go and get sex changes. I'm not kidding you. Iran is popular, to which a number of people do go and get sex changes outside of the US and other Western nations, because they sort of offer as some form of option as well.
Yeah.
And I remember learning this a number of years ago, probably over 20 years ago, about this. And it was very interesting to find out. So even though they still might throw off certain group of buildings, they still do this as well at the same time. So you get like a double conundrum of sorts. Looking at this art here, this is bloody terrible. Like the way this is done.
I do like the art. The art might be beautiful, but I just don't give it everything. Nice. It's so boring.
Yeah, it's nice, but the way that this particular page or panel is done, yeah, this is terrible. Just look at the way it's done. I was also listening to some other YouTube's channels, and if you look at how John's done here, what the hell is wrong with this picture?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like it's a figure of sorts that's been twisted backwards to make it look like he's flying, and it's just terribly done. If anything, he should have been the Superman beside him than how he's done here.
Yeah,
yeah, like the one Superman beside him, is done slightly better than John Samuel Kent in this particular picture.
Huh.
This artist needs to go back to art school. So to not make
it's flirting with
again.
John's birth was amazing.
All right. We'll move towards. Okay, we'll just jump towards the conclusion of the article. He added there is a real evil in this world, the real corruption, government overreach, plenty of things to fight against, human trafficking, real actual slavery going on, which is true. There is human trafficking that does happen. It would be brave to tackle those issues, and that would also include human sex slavery.
Yeah, like, and human trafficking, which actually just dealt with. You know, this TV show dealt with all this shit. It did do it a lot.
And he brings a really good point. Shine a light on those issues, as I'd like to see
a character
well, I'd want to read in the comment. This one, I don't think I'll be reading. I could just look MSNBC to get this information concluded.
I'm with Dean King. He's 100% right about this. He's right.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
Glorify something that's not believable. It's stupid. It's a bad idea.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, particularly, I hate this word. This word I mean, above oil. But I have no choice on this one. It's a forward-thinking agenda that no one wants to lead, and people want not the good superhero story being heroes fighting bad guys and saving the day. And going on the topic of former engine story. That is a political but literally in the story that I can read that people on my Instagram, the thing we're doing now with Jay Nakamura. Let's put that together. Look at that story which is that thing. Matt to tell you what you think.
What do I think? Well, yeah. You know, I do agree with I do agree with Dean Cain in a way because you know, and the thing is that what's funny is that animated shows probably prior to 2015 used to do this. You know, tackle stuff about human trafficking and maybe not real slavery. Yeah, racism, even though you know, and stuff like that, and you know about government corruption. Because Justice League Unlimited did a fantastic job on corruption, I would say. One of the best.
Don't have to go topical point with the racism and drugs.
Yeah,
you had as well.
Yeah, you had very smart writers. You know, rest in peace to Dwayne McDuffie, but he was a great example of that. You know, really.
Yep.
So yeah, you definitely need to have The era of the smart writer is something that needs to be
returning. Yes.
because you know it can't be for the gimmicks. It can't be for the clicks. It's got to be for the story. And I want to say that that some writers are starting to learn that. I mean, at least I want to hope so, but.
Not always the hard way.
Yeah, I think it'll only get worse before it gets better. But we'll see what happens.
But Milestone dealt with this shit in the early 2000s or the 90s.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah. They did.
Like they dealt with this stuff and I think it's done great. Granted, I never read the Milestone comics, but I've seen the Saxo TV show that dealt with a lot of this stuff, and it was good. I love that show. It's my favorite show after growing up.
Well, one thing I am looking forward to, especially through my LCS, is actually getting the Milestone Compendium, which has all stories by the original stories by Dwayne McDuffie.
Nice.
And I can't wait to read it, and I can't even wait to share it on the channel when it turns up on the day. And I think that'll be really fun to read through. The main thing that I really want to read in that trade is actually the static run, because I've actually been reviewing the Vita Ayala static run,
How is that series? Is it good?
You do get some okay issues there, but I have not seen one trans character put into that run for some reason. I don't know. Maybe she hates trans characters too, just like Tom Taylor here. Hey, good to see you, Cast in the Shadows. I hope you're doing well, and I'm glad you're able to make it.
What's up?
Like, I've not seen one trans character in Tom Taylor's run in DC Comics. Don't know why. And I know a certain group, like Antifa, call these people out as TERFs, and they hate TERFs. I mean it. A number of them hate TERFs. So that would make Vita Ayala, Tom Taylor, immediately TERFs, plus whoever in the 5 or 10% working in DC Comics just pushing these only characters such as bi, queer, gay, lesbian. But why aren't we seeing any trans characters if they really want to try to go along with this narrative?
Wait.
Politics.
What about World Dreamer from the Supergirl TV show? She's technically a trans character.
Well, maybe in that it might be shown, but don't forget, you might get some of those in that community looking for a character or that community in the comics. And if that character is not in the comics, it's going to be DC is run by TERFs.
I think that case in the comics for me. I don't know. I know she's
right. That is going to be their reaction, and they don't like TERFs. A number of them do not like TERFs. Right? You might get some of them that will have decent conversations with them. And take note, that word, some. Not all, but some that will have a decent civil conversation with them. Just to understand why they don't like them. And then come to a civil, peaceful agreement with them. Not to act all stupid and go full infantile syndrome. All right?
Yeah.
Like going full infantile syndrome. No, we don't want to see that crap. Because that makes it look even worse, especially on them. Because they look like the bigger man babies than those that they have been accusing of man babies.
Yeah.
And I'd have to say in regards to this, at the moment, Tom Taylor, in the public eye, right, because you are going to have people in said group that are going to look at this information and found out, oh, I heard this on this channel and I've had a look through all his work and yes, this person is actually correct. Yeah, he's a TERF. He's no bloody different than who was the writer of Harry Potter?
No. I completely brought it from my mind because stupid it was.
Like they are going to treat them the same as what they did with the Harry Potter writer, for example. Right? He's going to end up being cancelled.
Politics or whatever. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, he's going to end up being cancelled.
Cancel culture. I want cancel culture done.
And he's done it just perfectly by going on CNN. He has technically cancelled himself. Not by any of our help, but by his own help, of his own pride, his own ego. And we're still seeing injustice, like the story of injustice, not just in the animated, but also in his writing.
What's interesting is that he hasn't really plugged that movie. You would think that he would want to say, watch the Injustice animated movie that just came out. But
which is not really a good idea just at all. It's more of its own separate thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that. I liked it, but I recognize
The movie
I
I thought did
recognize the
okay. I
flaws.
think it's an okay movie. Not my favorite ad team.
Yeah.
You know what? For what you
I've
got,
played,
it's an okay movie.
yeah, I've played some of the video games. In fact, I still finish off the first one, but I have already finished off the second one, and I felt that the story was done a little bit more clearer than what I've presently played of the first one.
The first one dealt with multiverse stuff, and the other two, it's more straightforward story.
Yes.
Good Brainiac.
Yeah. And with that, if you look at how that story is done, where it leads to Superman being led into power, now we're getting the same thing here with, instead of it being Clark Kent, it's now John Samuel Kent. That is going to be
because John can never watch
said
anyone. Don't even got retired with a
to
BS3 did the Bendis crap.
Yep, that's right. Bendis is
Why can't you
Bendis
watch on
video.
Bendis? It's B.A. John. It's not that hard. DH for God's sake. Or here's the part. It's why the John can be a dictator. Did interview John Kent. They didn't pause for Earth 3.
Yep. The only way to stop John from becoming this dictator is, yes, that he would literally have to be de-aged.
Or be the John from Earth
If you
3.
think about it, the only way for this to stop occurring is, number one, to get Peter J. Tomasi back on the Super Sons run.
Oh, yes.
Which he actually
have it go present day. Literally, have it go present day Super Sons run. This is the only way which would stop John from becoming a dictator.
The kind of monster, yeah.
I would agree.
Right? This is the only thing that would stop that future state vision. And a number of people I've seen, saying, we don't want this aged up John Samuel Kent. Well, nor do I.
No one does.
Right, there's a lot of people who don't like this. Right, and a number of people are saying,
rushed.
Yeah, it's forced, it's rushed. And I'm going to say this, the Super Sons readers were right. The Super Sons readers were right. You should have kept on going with the Super Sons run, not aging up John Samuel Kent. I wouldn't bloody care if we got to see more school time with them and them doing.
I've been saying for years since I can't do. I'm saying you should get two them going. Let this book keep going for 50 issues. Let it keep going. Let it have a natural conclusion. Not ending with Bendis' garbage. Fuck Bendis' crap. That kind of advertising. I don't give a damn. Oh no! Wait. Wait. Scratch it. I gotta have a second opportunity to do this. This John Kent we have now is not John Kent. No, this is an imposter. This is
you know what's funny? What I think. Yeah, what I think is funny and what could be interesting is that people want to bring up. Well, there's a way you can bring up the multi because I've been thinking about it for the last couple of weeks. Like when he returned, John came back. Yes. Jor-El could have literally gone to another Earth and picked up another John.
Yes.
I mean, this could be like the Tim Drake scenario in the beginning of Rebirth, where everybody thought Tim Drake was dead, but he was really somewhere with Doomsday. I would hope to think that maybe just maybe 10-year-old John Kent is out somewhere.
Yep.
Hoping that somebody will save him.
Yeah.
And that this aged up John Kent is really maybe a plot by Jor-El to do what he wanted to do initially when he was
problem. Mr. R that he's gone.
When he was
back in the past.
Yeah. But then again, I just hope a de-aging would be so good. That's just my opinion.
Yes, we need.
By the way, I'm telling you, I found out the image that I'm gonna try to show you.
Okay, let's have a look what you got here. When you're ready.
the crime syndicate I'm afraid of is not even benefit bullshit. Because remember this crap, this some younger about madman.
Oh, yeah.
But this is my solution. My solution to joining the reality from this book, from Benson Alva's story, is that this is not John Reno. This is actually the crime syndicate John Kent, who got tortured by his own father, Ultraman, and Joel, Mr. Oz, but he took this John Kent and you can say that the R John Kent got trying to fuck hole. I know that's stupid. Stay with me. And the John Kent who got tragedy in the volcano, it's curve 3. R John Kent, the real John Kent, it's somewhere out there and trapped somewhere that needs to be saved. And I know this is complicated with you confusing, but this is probably the only answer we have is he get John Kent be the dictator, while R John Kent go back to the past and stop the evil Buddha himself from destroying the world. It's complicated. Yep. I know it's confusing, but it's the only option that makes sense.
It sounds better than what we've got right now. To be completely honest. Well, how about we jump into something a little bit more positive then? I was going to cover the other bounding one, but I think we might just pass that. But I've already shared the link in the comments. So let's go to something a little bit more positive.
Okay.
The Batman Wayne Family Adventures webtoon being adapted for live action.
Yeah, I heard about that. I
heard about that as well.
I love the idea of this. I've actually been reviewing this on the channel, and it's actually been reviewed under the Super Sons Fortress of Attitude because it's got a sun in it. Woohoo!
Yeah.
And this is fantastic. Okay, I'll share the link there in the in the chat. And this is absolutely fantastic. And to those who don't know, there is a website called Webtoon, to which it's got like a lot of Korean type comics on it. It's also known as manhwa, and don't get manhwa confused with manga. Two completely different things.
Yeah, it's called a webcomic for a reason.
Yeah, and this is absolutely fantastic. A Batman webtoon that's popular on Whom You Ask, and trust me, this series is still getting lots of positive comments. And I recently read the latest issue, and it was hilarious. It's not finished yet because there's 3 parts to this next story that's coming up. IGN reports filmmakers Isma Hawke are producing a living color miniseries based on the light-hearted. Now, Isma Hawke also works with another channel to which they do like a Red Hood fan series. I have actually watched some of those fan series, and I can tell you one thing. They do the best they can to make sure that the characters are comic accurate.
True.
Even in the behavior of how they act.
But it's way better than the Titan. The Titan show, dear God, that show, my man, just broke me. I can't do it anymore. That show is so fucking stupid. Like,
it's interesting.
When I ran away the episode, my brain fell out of my skull. Stupid it was. Like, right. What the fuck am I watching? Right. It's stupid.
Right. Yeah. Right. Isma Hawke works with the channel, the Red Hood fan series, and in it they have the characters and actors like playing the role of Tim Drake, even Damian Wayne, and yes, Isma Hawke has also worked alongside with that channel, to which she also plays the role of Nightwing.
Yep.
Oh.
Yes, that's right. He plays the role of Nightwing, and it is incredible. Like, I've watched the first series. They did another series. They also put out some Blu-rays and whatever. It's been a while since they've done an update from their channel. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen an update from their channel, and I really hope that there's another one soon, because it would be nice to see like how things are going with the cast. And I highly recommend that if you want to see some Red Hood content with a little bit of Damian Wayne, Tim Drake, go check that channel out. I'm
still hoping home we get Super Son a live action series.
Oh, by the way, the person who runs that channel, even though he does like play the role of Red Hood himself, he knows of the Super Sons.
So maybe
he knows of it.
We get Super Son live action series.
Right?
It's interesting you mentioned. It's interesting that you mentioned this live action series, because I now may check it out. But we all know Dexter Soy, the guy whose art helped popularize Jason Todd when you had
Red Hood and the Outlaws.
When you had Red Hood and the Outlaws with Artemis and Bizarro.
That was good. I like that book. But
yeah,
Dexter Soy was bullshit. That was stupid. Without no fucking sense. But despite that, the book was actually decent. It's where Scott was there, and Scott was running it.
Yeah, I know. I liked the series. Yes.
Yeah, Master Chudy, I want to say one thing. Because of you doing reviews on that issue on your channel, or those issues on that channel in regards to Red Hood and the Outlaws, I ended up picking, I think it was 1 or 2 trades in relation to it.
Oh.
And I enjoyed it. I actually quite enjoyed it. And it was a good recommendation from you.
Was crap. Rebirth is far better.
It was actually part of a rebirth, which Master Chudy's talking about. The rebirth.
Rebirth of Red Hood and the Outlaws. I'm glad that you ended up liking it. I'm happy. But coming back to this show, Dexter Soy, who's the artist who is definitely in my top 3 artists right now, no doubt. He he constructed the mask that this guy who's playing Red Hood made, and they got in contact, and he's making like the Red Hood mask for him. And this is how I heard about the show, but I didn't know how legitimate it was until you mentioned it right now. So I definitely have to take a watch at this. I'm interested.
It's worth checking out. And of the episodes that I've watched of the Red Hood fan series that they did, it's worth it. Every episode is worth it. Yeah, you might have an episode where Damien's not in it, but you're going to have another episode where he might be in it. And it's like really good. One of the things that they also addressed was also the Court of the Owls. And yes, you had Damien in it too. So that was really good. Like a young actor playing the role of Damien, and it was fantastic. I don't know what the next season completely covers, but I do believe that it came out on Blu-ray, DVD. They also had some other things as well that was meant to come out. It's been a while since I've caught up with the channel, but I definitely recommend the channel. And yeah, they do some silly stunts as well on the channel. It's sort of like where they challenge some of the young actors that appear in the series, but it's really done well, and you would definitely like the series.
Okay, sweet.
So, in a mini 3 parts, the adaptation of the Wayne family adventures.
Well, for me, exclusively this mom on Ismail's YouTube channel.
Yep.
Wait, when? Which day? I need a date.
Alright. See if we can maybe pull up his channel. And I'll be able to show you the channel. Oh. It's presently private, so it does exist, but it's presently private right now. So.
Okay. All right.
So my best game, it'll probably come out when it's ready.
Yeah. So his channel's still there, but the thing to the video is in private. So the cast is as follows: Jonathan Bentley as Bruce Wayne, Yoshi Sudaso as Dick Grayson Nightwing, Lisa Foyles as Barbara Gordon Oracle. So we're going to actually see like a real Oracle in this, like the same in relation to the Batman Family Adventures. Tim Neff as Jason Todd Red Hood, Peter Sudaso as Tim Drake, Megan Semarina, if I'm saying that correctly, as Stephanie Brown Spoiler, Gemma Nugent as Cassandra Cain Orphan, Carter Rockwood as Damian Wayne. That should have an A on it, not an E. I got to call that out.
Yeah.
Dushan Tickshawn as Stiegel, or Dushan Stiegel as Duke Thomas Signal, and Marcus Weiss as Alfred Pennyworth. And of course, this is like that's some of the actors that they're gonna have.
I then provided some licensed grand including image of Tim Neff in costume and leather and forecast him on Hardaway Manor. Yeah, we know it's already. Free webtoon.
Originally dropped on Batman Day, and new episode is every Thursday with 7 up currently.
I think it's by 8 by now. It's probably 8, right?
Users received it fairly well, giving it a 9.7 star rating, which is pretty good, with around 6 to 9.7k people who have tuned in. That's quite a lot of viewers in regards to this.
My whole thing is this thing. Okay, this is succeeding. What am I saying? This open the door for more for this stuff. Say, I don't give a shit. My family has a webtoon. I would read that in a heartbeat. If you're giving something Boy John Kent back to normal, I'll be all for that. Because it's better than the main book going on right now. Like, crazy. Give a shit, my family. I'd read that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I reckon Superman as a webtoon would also be great as well. Yes, with our DH, John Samuel Kent.
Not
the number has declined steadily since it is down almost by half by October. The Vigilante Bingo. So it's slightly dropping in numbers. So, well, that's not to say that.
Pretty much would cherry to claim a victory, though they have to count them when they find them. What? Yep. That sucks. What the hell?
And that's the end of that article. Well, for those who are enjoying the Wayne Family Adventures, I do cover the Wayne Family Adventures through the Super Sons Fortress of Attitude.
I can't cover that series.
I'm covering them only sort of like 3 episodes at a time, for the time being, unless that changes to maybe 4 episodes at a time. That might happen later on.
Yeah.
But I have been enjoying going through this on the channel. With the first one, Teve actually managed to make it along. He wasn't able to make it to the second one, but you know what? It was still fun to go through and go ahead. Even though the last live stream wasn't very long, it was still fun and wonderful to go through this. And I enjoy sharing this with the subscribers, with the viewers, because it gives you a hint of what I'm personally enjoying and what you might personally enjoy too. And I always remember to share the link in the description in regards to this, or at least in the actual chat.
Yeah.
And that's.
Anyways, we should probably get the last article for today because it's getting late. We're going to come over here.
Yep. All right. The last couple of things that we've got to cover is some wonderful news
find some good news instead of bad news, depressing like the bisexual bullshit.
Yep. And here we go. Are you ready?
Woo!
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw this and
Fruit Games Radar.
I don't know. It's not the same, especially with this picture.
In that,
it's not.
I feel it is going to, like, I feel he's been asked to sort of like make it work with the current storyline.
I think Tomasi knows that. It's just because we've seen him do specials that have lasted. Like he's had maxi series. He went from a continuous series to a 12-issue to two 12-issue maxi series with the Super Sons.
Both of them were good.
He's doing
both of them are amazing.
Yeah. And he's down to doing a 1-issue special, which is a Superman and Robin special. Superman and Robin, not Super Sons. Superman and Robin.
Yes, I agree. It should be a Super Sun special, not a Superman and Robin. But in some way, it does somewhat look interesting. I will be making sure that
nothing. Believe me, I'm this over nothing.
Yeah. Okay, moving into the article, John Kent and Damian Wayne, formerly known as the Super Sons, now known as Superman and Robin, are holding a reunion in January's 2022.
Next year.
In Superman and Robin special.
Superman and Batman duo use the power line sword preaching in words my No shit. We're doing 8-11 in the young man. Bullshit. Fuck that awful thing. I did my webinar and I did my announcement video about this news. I'm still pissed out about that day. Fuck that change. I'm gonna let that go. Anyway, time you continue.
All right. The firstborn male offspring of two of the most iconic heroes of all time, Superman and Batman duo, to power around as a sort of preteen world's finest. Well, they've got one thing wrong here. Why the hell are they using the word preteen here?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
That is wrong, right? The way that they've done this article, the grammar is wrong because in technicality, according to what is happening in DC, these characters are both technically teens. That includes Damian as well.
What?
So yes, the author of this article is getting a roasting care of the Super Sons Fortress of Attitude.
Yeah.
But before John was rapidly into a young man a few years back, he handed the reins being Metropolis to Superman in mid-2021 before Damian Wayne went off in his own adventures in his own solo title. Now, according to DC, a ghost from John's past has come and returned, and he renewed his old playdate partner.
What?
Wrong word there.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
The word would have to be friend, not playdate partner. Playdate partner is used mainly in reference to infantile children.
And John was 10 years old. Didn't when he was 13.
Yeah. If John was 10 years old, right, this would make sense, right? This would make sense.
Since you ate up for this crap, we can't use that word anymore. It's sad.
And one last mission into the heart of darkness. The Superman and Robin special written by Peter J. Tomasi, who was
No, it's called Shine Superman, you idiots.
Yeah. And I'm going to put this out there. Who was wronged by DC Comics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And whoever was running it at the time, and that includes you too, Dan Didio.
Yep.
And Brian Michael Bendis. Yes, you fall into that line too. Tom King in some part as well.
Wait, Tom. Oh yeah, Tom killed Alfred.
Yes, yep.
To be fair, I wouldn't Tom King with a plan. Tom King would not gonna kill Alfred. That would be a Houston, but then the deal said, "Fuck it, we're gonna portray him that Louis Alfred."
We're forgetting another thing too that Tom King did. Yes, there was the Alfred thing. What else did Tom King do?
Made Wally the murderer, made a psychopath, and killed his friend and were an accident. But thankfully, that's been addressed finally. And fix that. Thank God.
Master Trudy, do you know? Master Trudy, I'll go to you.
I'm trying to remember what else Tom Taylor did.
Not Tom Taylor. Tom King.
I said Tom King. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what else he did. I mean, he's done quite a lot. Oh
Dick
yeah,
Grayson?
I think Dick Grayson, where he had him. Did he have him shot?
Shot in the head.
Was that him who had him shot in the head?
Yes.
Yep.
I guess it was. Oh yeah, when KG Beast shot him in the head. Yeah.
Yes.
And then we had that whole year where he was Rick.
Yep.
Grayson.
And many did not enjoy the title, and I'm going to include myself in that. It took Dan Jurgens to sort of help bring me back when he was on the title. And I think he did actually a real good job in trying to bring him back. And
he tried his best.
He tried his best. And Dan Jurgens was also nailing it on Batman Beyond.
Yeah, I love Batman.
He did a real good job with that. Even though we did get to see a different Damian Wayne, he still respected his character. Like, I don't even trust Dan Jurgens and Tomasi doing this story. Yeah, I would trust Dan Jurgens and Tomasi doing this story together.
Agreed. Before you get one shot, they're going to June 25th. And one of them come in. Wait a minute, up yet. Wait a minute, because my video cover out all these. Expect to tag the response to John Command.
Jorge Jimenez and
fuck that. I don't want that at in this book. It's bad out there with the main human, John Campbell. I don't want there to be addressed in the Super Saiyan book.
Yeah.
Don't bring that up.
Another thing that he brings up here is expect the special tackle Damian's response to John's coming out as bisexual, which will officially occur in November's 9th. So you do notice something else with this as well, don't you? One's coming out in November, the other one's coming out in January.
That's odd.
Yep.
Wouldn't this work better if they were? Yeah, wouldn't this work better if they were coming out on the same month?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. But also, it would have been so much. It would even be better if Damian didn't even bother asking about the question. There's no reason for him to inquire, and there's no reason for John to even bring it up. Just do your thing.
Exactly. And which officially comes out in November. And of course, we address the issue of what happened in Batman Urban Legends 6. Issue 6. Damian has been out of Damian, now they're talking about the Robin solo series. Damian has been out of Gotham Secret Island and not in tune with what the everyday goings that are happening in the DC universe. Are you sure about that? You have not been reading the Robin run.
The Robin run's great.
He just left Gotham.
You have not been reading the Robin run.
Like they forgot the whole background was chasing him down.
Damian knows some of the stuff that's actually happening in Gotham. Right? I'm calling out this author of this article out because he has not been reading the Robin run. And I know I'm not the only one who reviews the Robin run on my channel. Javier does as well. Sean from JTS Reborn is another. Then there's a couple of other channels. Caped Joel, I believe, covers it.
Yeah.
Right? That's just a few off my tongue. And yes, Damien knows some of the stuff that's actually happening in that universe. So this is a complete lie. And I'm calling it as it is. Because he also
Alex within in the story, the person that now grown up by truth and justice. What? No, go things people don't begin to understand child. I think you're taken away at the by Mr. R that bullshit, abandoned by his mother. No, I'm not going to go. Did we get abandoned by no mother by bullshit reasons? Because patriotic?
Yep, and
I
it
will
also
never understand why go to abandon her own son. It makes no fucking sense. It's stupid.
Yep, and it also mentions to check out all 3 of the covers. So I'll try to show us. Oh, actually, you know what? I might be able to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see how this works. Yep, good.
First cover is
Right,
okay.
there's the first cover. That looks all right. But you know what? I would slightly fix up Damian Wayne's costume to look a little bit more like his Rebirth one.
Yeah.
Because that was the 10 times better costume than the one that we've got now. And I feel that it balanced his character better. Then we've got this one where they're side by side.
I love that cover. It's holy man and art. It looks perfection.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And I agree. They did a great job with that one.
I mean, it's Jorge Jimenez.
My hope is that's the cover they use.
Then last but not least, this third cover. No doubt.
See, believe it or not, this cover is the one that pretty much kind of took me out of it because it's like this clearly does not give me a Super Sons vibe at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fully understandable.
Yeah.
All right, we'll drop that and I think that's pretty much the rest of it. The rest of this article, where it says Damien hasn't been Batman yet. And his title as Superman is.
I want to make New York with a better superhero over time. I checked that list. That list is bullshit. Because there's Superior Spider-Man on that list.
All right.
Well, that's Doc Ock. That's not Peter. Fuck that.
I just got one more little thing to share.
Yeah.
And you're really going to like this one. And a big thanks to JTS Reborn for this.
Yep.
And it is what it actually shows us.
At the Superman, I'm going to read that.
Here we go.
As Superman, John Kent, Damian Wayne put evil to bed past its bedtime. That's adorable. But New Day at dawn, John Kent announced Superman and Metropolis all going on fighting the truth and kind of going up thing the boy at the beginning of John Kent as a child. I hate saying that word. John is still a child. It took that away from the beard wings. Now goes when John passes his head and about this evil, he'll need to reunite with his God one last mission in the heart of darkness. This time they'll be bowing out as Super Son. What? Not as Super Son, but Superman Batman, the point invented is run by Queen Super Son and writer Peter DeMonte. Scribe, my bad. Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm looking forward to the name of our region more because of the Tamasi. He's the only thing that's in this book alive for me. My hope is that thing sells well. Maybe, just maybe, we get an ongoing Super Ten series. It may not be the same, but better than nothing. But better for worse.
Yeah, we don't know what's been planned for the story yet. And I do feel like we only see this excerpt in relation to what this story is about. We don't. Hey, for all we know, Tomasi might surprise us and not give us anything at all in relation to John Samuel Kent coming out as bisexual. You know what? That would probably make this it would make that the best issue to start off the year.
Agreed.
I mean, it would make it the best issue the start of the year. They have this one shot. They don't even bring up anything in regards to this bisexual nonsense at all. They keep it all out, and they just give us what Tomasi has been doing, just giving us wonderful stories, still with that Super Sons flavor, for example, or the Super Sons story writing, still got the same groove. And when it returns to, say, the normal runs, the only place that it's addressed is in those runs and not here.
Yes, hopefully.
Hopefully this book sells great. I'm praying that God it sells great.
Yep.
Well, that practically finishes it up for all of the things that we're wanting to share on the channel today. And it might have been a late start, but you know what? It's actually turned out to be a really fun live stream. And thank you to all that who have made it, not only in the text that managed to make it, including those after, like those who come in and watch this video afterwards. Big thanks to you. Definitely check out Tevye Smolker's channel, Master Chudy's channel. They certainly got quite a bit to offer. You might even want to go through some of their older videos, comment on them. So before we finish off the stream, is there anything that you've got planned going up on your channel this week? Or that goes for you too, Master Chudy. And thank you so much for joining us as well too, Master Chudy. It's really good and nice to catch up with you. It's probably been a little too long.
Let me just get off
my
piece
always
here.
Welcome.
I appreciate it. I'm very happy that I got on the stream. It's good to get back and just discuss, kick back, relax, and just talk about things that we like in comics, which be Super Sons as well. I'm happy I got on this stream. It was very good, just to talk, because especially, even what's happened in the past year and a half, it's just good to find people familiar with and strike up a good conversation. And I think that's the most important thing in hindsight and even moving forward. As opposed to my channel, hopefully maybe this weekend or next week, I did watch an animated remake of Night of the Living Dead, the 1960s version.
People done with that movie.
I will say that while the animation wasn't great per se in some parts, I did think the voice acting was top notch, and I think that's what saved the movie. So that's what I'm going to hopefully make a video on as soon as I can. And so I'm going to try to keep out content a little bit more regularly, but we'll see how it goes because, I'm moving into another stage in my life where things are going well and I'm a little bit more busy, but I'm still into this stuff. So, and, getting back on the stream allows me to continue to have a pulse in it. So thanks.
No problems. You're always welcome.
Thank you.
And I also look forward to when you share it on the Rainbow Press and Comics website as well, in regards to that review that you're going to put up. So definitely check out the Rainbow Press and Comics website. You will be able to see the link on my channel to the Rainbow Press and Comics website. Tevye also shares articles on there too in relation to his videos. And go ahead, Tevye.
Sorry to interrupt, but speaking of videos, I'm actually playing a live stream for Saturday for DC Fandom, and I'm hoping that you can join me for that one. YouTube actually, you can join me as well because that thing's gonna be huge. I do want you to join me, but I can't do that one alone. I need support on that one.
All right. Do we know how long the fandom's going to go for? Because I had a look at the time, and I know that in Australia, at the time that it showed me, it's going to be about 4 a.m. Australia. And I probably won't be up till about maybe 6, 7-ish. Then I've got to get a couple of things prepared, getting some pets outside. So I probably won't be prepared till about 8 a.m. in the morning. And like, if we knew if the DC fandom was maybe going close to all day, okay, I'd probably be able to come in around the 4-hour mark.
Yeah.
I'd have no problem with that. But I might be a little bit late, so I'll let you know ahead of time. So that's the key thing. We need a rough idea as to how long the fandom is going to go for. If it's like an all-day event, I'd have no problem with jumping into the live stream with you.
Yeah.
And that would be great to talk about some of the things. And you'd also be able to get me up to date with some of the things that I missed. So I'd be able to come onto the channel and say, okay, sorry for running late. What have I missed?
It started 1:00 p.m. and hopefully it's a long and not very short, because like GD Panic last year was super long and I couldn't finish that much and I really planned.
Yeah.
But I am hoping I am ready to cover everything as best I can.
Yeah. I would love to join that with you. I would love to join that with it. And who knows, maybe you might be able to do it through Restream or through Stream. It depends which one you've chosen to do it through. Because StreamYard actually sets no limit, like no time limit to which you're able to use up.
Yeah.
Where StreamYard, you've got about 20 hours to which you can use up throughout overall. And Restream, you don't have that. And that's sort of like one thing that I've noticed between the two, but they both have their pros and their cons, and that I do agree with.
Yeah.
Well, must be time to prepare to end the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 10:43. I gotta go and go for bed.
Yeah. Well, let's get yourselves out, and
thank you.
So go ahead and do your shilling.
Yeah, just hit my channel, Master Chudy. I review comics when I can, reviewing a lot of more animated stuff, shows and movies, and the occasional news. So yeah, hit up Master Chudy.
When you're ready, Tevye.
You can follow me to Tevye Spogo on pretty much Twitter, or you know all the rest. You can join us for the stream, and they can tell you when we join. So I've got a little bit late, but shit happens.
And I want to give a big thanks to everyone who made it to the Super Sons Fortress of Attitude, this live stream. I've got some upcoming Super Sons that will be coming this week. On Thursday and Friday, I've already prepared some comics in regards to the 5th week of September. In regards to that comic haul, because of the delays here again in Australia. It's something out of my control. Trust me, if I wish I could control it like that, I'd have my comic hauls here directly the next day without any issues. But because it's out of my control, I gotta wait on Australia Post here to get the comics as quick as possible and whenever they can get here. So hopefully I'll be able to get the next week's live stream done somewhere in between those videos, which will be going up. So we'll see what happens there. But do stay tuned for the next upcoming comic call. You're going to see some Superman. You're going to see some Batman. Also, I think some Fool's Gold as well, so stay tuned for that. Covering some Checkmate and some Justice League. care of some Brian Michael Bendis. So thank you, Brian Michael Bendis, for all the Fool's Gold. I'm looking forward to the Fool's Gold that is going to be the Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes for the channel.
Yeah.
And what it's going to be the greatest thing, because at least I can direct people to the very thing of Brian Michael Bendis of his that I do actually enjoy, and that's his Jinx World stuff.
Yep.
And I recommend that over a lot of his Marvel stuff. Well, we'll see you again at the Super Sons, Fortress of Attitude, and have yourself an awesome day.